What's up, everybody? This is Masaki coming to you live from State 483, and today we're going to have a really quick video on formations. So I want to share with everybody what kind of formations I use for my troops. Hopefully that will help you kind of work through what you're doing, right? So let's just get started. Basically, there are a couple formations that I think are really powerful to use. So one of the first things that a lot of people play this game for is obviously PvP. Something I recommend if you're doing things like Capital Clash, if you're hitting like the analysis centers, the formation I would recommend, or bunkers, etc., fortified fortresses, is to utilize what we call a 60-10-30 formation. Again, if you're watching any of my other videos, you know that if you want to win wars in general, you do want more infantry than your riders or your hunters, right? But how much more? So through some kind of calculations, etc., it looks like the 60-10-30 mix is really good. So that's 60 infantry, 10% riders, and then 30% hunters. The easiest way to get really close to that number is look up your maximum march, so mine is 136. So effectively just take a zero off. So just think you're going to put about 13,600 or so riders. So something like probably this. So if you want easy way, obviously just type it, but you can of course drag the slider to the position you want, right? Hunters, I usually just leave where it is because normally the formation becomes 33, 33, 33, right? So hunters, you can kind of increase this a little bit if you want to hit 30, but 33 is also okay. What then I would do is I would increase all the infantry up to the max. So this is the easiest way you can get to about 60, 10, 30. Obviously, it's a little bit more, so of course you can decrease this down a little bit and then increase this a little bit more up. And that is a perfect 60, 10, 30, right? So that's usually what you would do. Now, for this kind of PvP formation, what kind of heroes should you use? Well, it really depends. If you are a rally leader, right, you do want to use the heroes that give you the best skills. So, if you're attacking, you want hero skills that are like, decrease enemy settlements, etc. type of effects. For example, this one here on Emma Eli that decreases enemy settlement troop lethality. That's something that's great for attacking because you're going to be doing something to the enemy settlement troops, right? Or even on Maddie here, settlement troop attack plus 65%. 56%. This is more for defense, but her next one, rally troop attack, 18%. So that means when you're rally leading, the troops that are under her rally will get a bonus. So kind of look through your heroes. Obviously, they're going to be different per person. You probably will have better heroes than me if you're rally leading. So look through those and figure out what you have, right? And that's usually how you can tell. For example, rally troop defense. Over here we got rally troop lethality. So basically you're going to have double. You do want to, if you are rally leading, you do want to look for heroes that have double. For example, enemy settlement troop lethality minus, and also rally troop lethality plus, right? So that's kind of like a nice double effect. If you're joining rallies, remember only the first skill of the captain, so that's the first hero here, matters. So for example, anti-bullying device is the one that's going to be active if you use Emma Eli as your captain. Normally, as rally joiners, I highly recommend just using skills that reduce damage or increase troop health. So that's like Nicola, that's like Ghost, that's like Lucky, but most people don't have Lucky Max, so I don't usually talk about Lucky because this is basically a pay-to-win hero. So, and honestly, once tier 3, tier 4 heroes come out, this hero is really not that powerful anymore. So wouldn't recommend dumping a lot of money into this hero. So that's for PvP. Is a 60-10-30 is a great formation. Okay, so let's talk about other things. What about like if you're doing trap? So the funny thing about trap is I actually set up my trap like this. So I have 4 march slots, right? So what I do is for my first one, because normally at this point trap is mostly about sending as many rally as possible, and then obviously you want to hold one rally for just kind of making sure that you have you're basically rallying. You hold one rally for rallying, and then use your other marches, 5 or 6 depending on how many VIP level you are, for joining trap, right? And what's going to happen is that for most people, you do want to have rally joiners that help the rally. In trap, the only thing that matters is damage. So don't worry about joining with anything that, increases or decreases, increases health or decreases damage. What you do want to increase is just honestly attack. You want to increase lethality, right? So to that end, Eva, great trap joiner, Sarge, right? Because both these just their first skills deal more damage. So what I normally do is I have Eva set up with somebody that's just going to be able to increase the total march capacity, but not really affect the rally too much. For example, I'll just use like Chef, right? So as you can see, every hero, once they hit full level, max level, they add to the march capacity the same. So using Chef is the same as using Emma Eli. And I'll show you why. Because Trap is going to have many, many different marches. There's a reason why you don't want to use the best. So I use somebody like Chef, and then last one, maybe I'll just use somebody like, Inju, right? And the reason I do this is because for this specific march, I only send hunters, right? Because I'm using Eva, and Eva is my hero for kind of boosting the hunters. So in this case, I do that. Another way to do this, if you have a better, for example, hero that's good for here, you could, of course, use Maddie here for this formation, and then actually just run all riders here. So Eva is boosting damage, but Maddie is actually boosting all of your riders. So just kind of how this works, if you look at Maddie, her stats boosts rider attack and defense by a lot. And then Eva is going to additionally give 25%, right? Her hunter stats are pretty much like what you would expect of a purple hero at max level, 130. But 130 is really not that great, because if you look at even like Zoe, not at max level, 159, right? So you can get much higher. Obviously, I don't have a lot of these marksman heroes, so I don't really have that kind of boost. So between Eva and Zoe, there's going to be my best, attacking hunter heroes, right? And I guess also Sarge. So yeah, there's 130, 130, 130, 158 or 159. So I do something like this for my first march, okay? So let's just march that out so you kind of see it. Now for my second march, similarly, I will run a Sarge. So here we go. Sarge is good for this purpose. In fact, actually, Zoe is another hero that's really great. I just don't have her first skill unlocked to the point where she has the full potential of this, so 25% increase. But Zoe, if you have Zoe unlocked, she should be your march for the hunters. Again, similar strategy here. I just use somebody like Rusty. I just use somebody like Trish. It's fine. My Trish is not maxed, so it doesn't really matter here. Okay, so for this march, because it's Zoe, lots of hunters, so she's boosting hunter damage and she's boosting damage of the rally, so I pump all hunters for this march. Okay, so my third march, what I do is I usually then have you have a Sarge, right? But you do want to have a march that's kind of helping everybody in the rally. So if you're rally leading, right, all the skills are now active. So kind of consider that and look through, see which kind of heroes can boost everybody's skills, and that's what you should be using in that. So Emma Eli is pretty good for this, so I usually assign them. Just in case anybody sends any infantry, they boost infantry stats by a lot, right? Okay, and then for the last one, I usually just assign somebody who's really, really good. For example, Jane's not bad for this role, right? You can, of course, use Travis. I wish I had a little bit more of these scouts heroes to use, but I don't. So the best one, I guess, would be, let's see, probably like Inju, once she's max, actually can do a lot of bonus skills. So I might want to max Inju for this purpose. But for now, let's just use Jane, right? She's okay. She's not the best. This right here, what I might do for this is I might actually run like a, because they're both kind of like 130, I might run half and half here. So I might run like 70K and then about 70K here too. So this will be my third march, but this is also my rally. So just make sure you understand that one is your rally. And of course, for your fourth march, this is kind of interesting. It really depends on how many more troops you have left and heroes, etc. But at this point, you're just looking for a march that's going to optimize your joining, right? So of course, one way you can do this is you can just do something like if you're going to use hunters, pick your best hunter hero like this. And then for, again, your Nicola, whatever, it's fine. You can use him if you want. And then of course, just lastly, pick some scout. Let's say I'm using Indru, for example. Just this is example. Again, you want to maximize your hunters here. You just want to then stack on as many riders as possible. So I'm at the point where inside my base, I have only a few riders and hunters left, right? So if you look at the rider and hunters, they're pretty low inside my base. Available, sorry, over here, available, very low. So what I have is executioners left. So obviously tier 10 tier 10 1-star executioners are still pretty good. So for your 5th March or 6th March, what you should now do is utilize your best brawler, right? Because they do buff your infantry by quite a bit. And then it doesn't really matter what the other 2 heroes are, but do use them as well. And then here you want to maximize your infantry infantry. Of course, you can throw in a couple like riders or hunters in there as you will, but that's where you can put in your infantry. Of course, for your 6th March, which you don't have because this is not rally, but this is not trap. The rally doesn't count as one of your marches, so you will get 1+ however many marches you have. I would send another really great brawler and use that person as the hero to kind of buff the brawler team for that purpose. So that's how I normally do trap formation, so you kind of can see. As far as infected goes, in general, I don't worry too much about infected. The standard like default game 33 everything, or the other way of doing it, which is you can do the whatever they give you, like the recommended hero, but you can split them across all your marches. So this one here, so if you go in here, you equalize, this is also okay too. So you can do something like this for infected, it works. But honestly, just in general for infected, this default like 33, 33, 33 is okay too. So that's reasonable for using against infected. Lastly, I do want to show you one thing I use for hunting. What I mean by hunting here is, I mean when I'm going around the map, kind of looking for bases to attack with intent of getting resources. If you don't want to lose troops, right? This is very key. What I normally do is obviously, your hunting targets will change or be different, but you do want to hit targets that you think you can win very easily. And then this is actually a really great way to get rid of these. If you do intels every day, you're gonna have a lot of blues and purple heroes like these you get from intels, right? So from the pickups. So what do you do with these heroes, right? So what I use them for hunting. What I mean by that is if you want to go hunting, what I normally do is you pick your best attack hero. Of course, it will be something like this, right? Your standard, like, increase rally troop, whatever attack, right? Type of thing. And then with the best skills, right? But I don't put any executioner in. So do not use your top tier troops. I sometimes don't even use my 2nd tier. And the reason for this is because I use these troops for upgrading during survival of the fittest or during like capital clash, right? That kind of things. Because the upgrading gives you a little more points. We'll talk a little bit about that in a different video, but that's a skill thing that you should do. Then you come down to these purples, right? And then your so these purples. So I've cut a couple of these from just working around, getting the pickups every day from Intel. So you're gonna have them. You're gonna have your blues as well. So these are kind of plentiful. So what you do is for hunting, use only these troops. Now they did change PvP a little bit. In the past, what had happened was all the damage would go onto the highest tier shields first and then go to shotgun. That's all been changed because of the new PvP system. All that damage is now shared equally among all the troops. So as an example, if you send infantry like this, where every tier has a little bit of infantry, it used to be that the maulers, because they're shields, would take all the damage first, and then your executioner would take the damage second, right? That's all changed now. So if you send something like this, every single group, the maulers, the executioner, everybody kind of take damage equally. Like if you can think about it, if they do some damage to you, all the teams split the damage equally. So that's obviously not what you want, because that means you're going to be losing your high tier troops. So for this, you want to be running something like this. So you have whatever your attack troop formation looks like. Let's just pretend something like this, right? Because you're doing PvP type of thing. Again, in cases where you're going to win easily, you can actually use more hunters, and that actually destroys their attacks troops faster. So something to think about there. But depending on how many marches you plan to use, if you plan to use more than one, I would do half of every single one of these infantry. And if you do it this way, what's going to happen is you're going to lose these infantry that you normally would not really care about anyways. And then that also allows you to basically survive the fights, and not waste any of the high tier infantry that you normally want to save for events like Capital Clash, etc. Right? So just a little tip for that. But that's it. That's pretty much all the formations I think I want to talk about. There's not really that many other formations I could think of that matters. Yeah, so I think the only other one I can really think about is for Horde. But normally for Horde, I just kind of hand wave, give some troops over to the people I'm supporting. It doesn't really matter too much, honestly, at the end of the day. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so this is I hope this is helpful for those people who want to know about formations. This is Masaki from State 43. I hope you all have a great day and stay classy.